Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Gajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketurganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Pakratundaha Surpakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Suklambaradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopasantaye Yasyat Virada Vaktradhya Parishadhya Prasatam Vignam Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenam Tamasriye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. With Bhagavan's grace, we will take up Narada Bhakti Sutra. And what is a sutra and what is this about, the total of 84, all those we will cover hopefully very soon. But before we start the actual sutra, the Narada Bhakti Sutras themselves, I wanted to share with you a few things that will put us in the right frame of mind to receive the information that Narada will be giving us. Because we all use the word bhakti so often, and bhaktas and bhakti and devotion and all that. And so if we try to understand the extremely potent and very powerful message from Narada with our limited understanding, then we will be missing it. So let us spend some time, whatever it takes, and get into the right frame of mind to be able to receive this message. And for that, I want to share a few things with you. Once when Rama and Viswamitra and Lakshmana had arrived at Mithila, and this is before the wedding, and Narada and, as you know, Janaka had taken care of their hospitality very well, and they were all very well taken care of. So that night, Rama was lying down on his bed in the room allocated to him, and he had left the door slightly open. Narada happened to come there at that time. Everything is Bhagavan's divine design. You should not forget that. Narada came there, and then he saw through the partially open door Rama was lying down on the bed. At that time, Rama took one of his legs, put it on the other leg, and started massaging it, moving it up and down, as if the leg was very paining and he was trying to massage it himself. So Narada, this is a Maya. Rama knew that Narada was outside. This is how even the great devotees, they get for at least a kshanam, trapped by this Maya. And the very few devotees who really escaped that. Prahlada was one of them, Dhruva was another, of course, Sukamuni, but everybody else has been trapped into that. So when how did the Maya take place? When Narada looked at it, and he said, "Oh, Rama, your legs are paining because you've been walking for so long, miles and miles, and plus you also fought and killed all those Tatakai, all the Rakshasis and all that. You must be very tired. Now, can I come and massage your feet?" That's the thought that went through Narada's mind when he saw that. Rama, of course, had his eyes closed, and he was doing that. When that thought came in Narada's mind, then Rama opened his eyes. And he pretended as if he was seeing Narada there, as if he didn't know. He said, Narada, come on, why are you waiting there? Come here, inside. And then they started conversing. At that time, Narada asked Sri Ramachandra, the Swami, what is the nature and what are the characteristics of your dasas? Later on, Hanuman is going to say, Dasoham Kosalendrasya, right? And Dasoham is a dasa and a servant of Rama. Can you and I become servant of Rama? So what is the nature of a servant of Bhagavan? And what are his characteristics, Swami? And who better to answer this and define this than Bhagavan himself? So Narada asked him, Swami, what are the nature and characteristics of your dasas? And also, those various sadhakas who are engaged in spiritual discipline and want to merge with you and embrace the divinity, the Atma, the indweller, as we saw in Bhagavad Gita and other times. So what are the nature and characteristics of these people, Swami? And, or, even if it's not a dasa, or even it's not a sadhaka, at least people like you and me who are got aspirations spiritually, spiritual aspirants. What is the nature and characteristics of them? That's a question Narada asks Rama. And then Rama answers. He said, Narada, listen. My dasas are full of love. Prema, love. They are full of love. They are always loving. Disposition is loving only. So important. And because of that, they are always standing by dharma. Now, what is dharma? Dharma is nothing but selfless love in action. Selfless prema in action. That is what dharma is. When there is no selfishness, any act you do automatically is dharmic. Even if you're selfish, if you surrender that action to Bhagavan, as we saw in Bhagavad Gita, then that becomes dharmic also. So the love in action is dharma. He says, my dasas are always standing by dharma. And you know what they speak, Narada? I will tell you. They speak only the truth. Only Satyam. Satyam is love in speech. That is Satyam. They do only that. And because they are full of love, their hearts melt with mercy and daya and compassion to everybody, to everything. And they don't do anything wrong at all. They avoid sin. Yes, they have a choice. You can either do sinful activities or you can move away from it. That's a choice Bhagavan has given us. Right? But they will avoid sin. And their nature is very well founded. Sukham, Saubhagyam, Badram Karnebi, we say. Like that, it is well founded nature they have. And you know what? Even at the trice, the wink of an eye, they will give up everything. They are so easy to share things with others, to renounce. They are not interested in acquiring and owning and all that because they are so full of love. They embrace love. They eat in moderation. They don't eat too much or too little. And you know how they spend their life? All the time they are doing only good to others. That's what they are doing. And they have no selfishness. And they have no doubt. They have sans doubt. Where there is doubt, there is always worry. So they have no doubt. They have such strong faith and full of love that doubt is absolutely absent. And you know another thing? When somebody praises them, how loving you are, how selfless you are, and all the things that they say, they don't even register those flatteries at all. It may fall in their ears, but they don't pay attention to it. But at the same time, they are very eager to listen to the praise of others, the goodness in others. They are very interested in hearing that. When somebody else is talking about the goodness of somebody else, oh my God, they are so happy to hear the good about that. And you know, their character, I'll tell you, Narada, is so important. It is holy character. It is so beautiful. Very strong character they have. And now, about my sadhakas. These are my dasas, my servants, whom I call as my servants. Right? Dasoham Kosalendrasya. What a great
a title, what a great degree to earn, from Bhagavan. That's what Hanuman had. That is why even today, when we recite Hanuman Chalisa or we think of Hanuman, we feel so good, so positive energy comes up, so energetic we become, right? All our worries go away. Do we ever think of Hanuman as a monkey? No. He's a devotee of Bhagavan, of Ramachandra. He's a dasa of Ramachandra. Now Swami continues. He says, now Narada, listen. My sadhakas are those people who are endeavoring, who are taking efforts, who are making attempts, and who are trying their best to acquire these qualities of dasas and such a character. They're always after, they're improving their character all the time, morning to night, every day, right? Because that character has to become so good that it can be offered like a flower to Bhagavan, the worthy of offering to Bhagavan. Vada Malar, we say, in Tamil. And that's what that is. So they are working at, they are making endeavor, they are working at getting these qualities of a dasa and the character. And now Narada, I will tell you something else. I will tell you about people who are very close to me, very dear to me. Priyosi me, Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, we have heard him, right? And now Ramachandra says the same thing. I'll tell you who are priya to me, who are very deep, close to me. Anyone who is doing japam or tapas or vratam and who has got self-control, samyama. Samyama, control means controlling the senses. He doesn't let the senses go away all over the place. He doesn't follow the senses. He controls them. And niyama, they also follow discipline. It is not like, I love Bhagavan and then no, it's disciplined way. Discipline is very important. So they've got the discipline. And not only that, they have faith. Faith in Bhagavan. Because we believe so many, faith is natural to us. The moment we started walking, as you and I know, every toddler, every child, you and I did the same thing. We attempt to walk, we attempt to sit, and then we put a couple of steps and start to walk. We fall down. Because according to law of physics, we cannot walk. Human beings cannot walk on two legs. Impossible. According to law of physics. But we fall down, we get up, we fall down, we get up, and then we start walking slowly, and all of a sudden we won't fall down anymore. Why? Because of faith. Because of faith that I will not fall down, inherently built in. So everything we do in life is based upon faith only. Everything, even landing at an airport and taking a taxi and getting back in the back seat of the taxi, and he doesn't know that, you don't know the taxi driver, you don't know the city, the time is very late at night, but you have faith that he will take you to the hotel. So it is natural to us, right? And but can we put that faith in Bhagavan? That's the question. And the people who are close to me, who are very dear to me, they have unshakable faith in me. It doesn't matter, the whole world may come falling down on their head. They will have faith that I will protect them. They have patience, and they have comradeship, sumitra. They have good disposition, friendly disposition to everybody else. And they are very kind, and they are always joyous, they are always happy, regardless of the ups and downs in life. They are well-being, very happy. Those people, they are very, very dear to me, Narada. Now, Narada, I will tell you about my devotees, about my bhaktas. Whoever with vivekam and vairagyam. Vivekam and vairagyam. Vivekam means discrimination, our buddhi, employing the buddhi. When you employ your buddhi, you become a wise person, not necessarily an intelligent person. Intelligence is one of mind, IQ and ability to understand things and all that. Though they really don't matter that much in the scheme of things. What is important is wisdom, the discrimination, what is good and what is not good, what is permanent and what is temporary, right? We saw all that in Bhaja Govindam and Bhagavad Gita, all the things that we have studied together, right? Yeah. So the vivekam, who has got the vivekam and who has vairagyam? Vairagyam means what? Not detachment, don't go there. Mind cannot detach. We saw that. Vairagya means attaching to the lotus feet. That's all. Simple. So who, employing discrimination, attaches to the lotus feet, and who has the qualities of Vinayam and Vijnanam. Vinayam, humility, very important. Vidya, Vinaya Sampannena. We saw that in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan himself teaches. Without Vinayam, knowledge cannot be obtained. So humility is very important. With Vinayam. Vijnanam. Vijnanam does not mean arts and science. Vijnanam, Jnanam means knowledge. As we saw earlier, can mean one of two things. It means a variety, a special type of knowledge, a varieties of knowledge. What does this mean? In the material world that we are all cognizing, that has manifested itself, we call it the earth, we call it the Bhumi or universe, or doesn't matter what we call it. All the things that are manifested, that we are sensing with our five sense objects, that experience, that feeling, we see so many things. Vijnana means it is the awareness to see Bhagavan's effulgence appearing in these myriad fashions, myriad ways, the appearances, disappearance, so many things, right? And everything is Bhagavan, to be able to see that. That is Vijnanam. So who has got Vivekam, Vairagyam, Vinayam and Vijnanam, and which is basically, very crudely English translating, is discrimination, renunciation, you can call it that way, humility and wisdom, and because of that they have touched, if not embraced, the love that is within them, that they themselves are, those people. Not only that, they're always thinking, contemplating in their mind about the glories and the stories of the Lord. Bhagavatam. We went through that, right? Always, like Dhruva was, always thinking about Bhagavan, oh, this is what Krishna did, this is what Rama did, and this is what he did in my life, It is not only history. The same thing, Bhagavan is doing so many things to you in your own life. If you just open your eyes, you can see it. Just for a second, stop everything and look carefully. Myriad things he is doing for you, right this instant. So you can touch him, you can experience him. So people who are contemplating and thinking about Bhagavan and who are doing Namasmarana. Namasmarana is the best, the easiest and the quickest way to touch the lotus feet. So who are doing Namasmarana, whatever name you like, and always repeating that as often as possible, right? And whatever happens to them in their life, the difficulties, challenges, successes, rewards, rejections, doesn't matter. Disappointment, doesn't matter. Successes, gains and losses, no. But they shed tears of love only. Because whenever they cry, it is not for their selfishness. Somebody else is suffering, they cry. Please, let them be all right. Like that. And when somebody utters the name, Lord Bhagavan's name, and they hear it, immediately they shed tears of love. Those people are my greatest genuine devotees, genuine bhaktas. This is what Rama answered Narada about Bhakti and about bhaktas. And this is what Narada heard from him. And later, he has given us these 84 sutras that we are going to share. But now you know the context of how Bhagavan himself defines who a devotee is. It is actually not relevant at all. It does not even matter. In our own life, we call somebody a devotee. We call ourselves a devotee. We can give ourselves whatever title we want, whatever appellation we want, and Guruji, Maharaj, whatever you want, they mean nothing, zero. Bhagavan is the only one who can confer the degree, you are my devotee. And that's the only degree we all must earn, nothing else. All other things are all temporary and they are really useless. This is the only degree we must earn, and we earn it in the university of the universe, because the universe itself is a university, right? We will talk about it. So that's what Rama told Narada. So, the Bhagavan will protect in all ways, at all times, those who worship him, and in complete uncontaminated bhakti. Ananyas chintayanto mam yajanaha paryupasate is what Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita. It's a very important slogan right at the center of Bhagavad Gita. That slogan is Ananyas chintayanto mam yajanaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahami aham. That's what Bhagavan says. I will protect you. You think of me. That's enough. And just as a mother protects her infants, small children, Bhagavan protects. How a cow takes care of the calves when it is born, like that. And how our eyelids protect the eye, like that Bhagavan is protecting us. And it is taking place effortlessly, automatically. This is the nature of Bhagavan. This is whether you like it and I want it, I ask for it, or I don't ask for it, it doesn't matter. He is protecting, period. Always there protecting. Whether I look to him or not, he is protecting. Okay, that is one thing he is doing always. Now imagine what happens in our own life. See, when an infant grows up to an adult, the same infant, the toddler who has been looked after so closely and guarded so closely by the mother, now the infant becomes an adult. What does the mother do? The mother does not pay much attention to that child because he's become an adult right now, because he can take care of himself. The same way, Bhagavan does not pay much attention to the jnani. Now, people like us who have got what is called as Saguna Bhakti. That means we worship Bhagavan in a form associated with certain characteristic or a quality. We can say it is love, it is anandam, whatever we want to call it. But Rama, Krishna, everything we put, even though it's a limitless, formless Bhagavan, we give it a form. Once you give it a form, automatically some gunas associated with that. So that bhakti is called Saguna Bhakti. This is like the infant stage, a childish stage. At that time, Bhagavan is very close to us. He looks after us like Bhagavan looks after an infant. Because a child doesn't have any strength to support itself. Same way Bhagavan is supporting us. But as we grow and become more and more mature and become a jnani, his own strength is enough. And till you become strong in your devotion, in your faith, unshakable faith, and namasmarana, discipline, and all the things that we must undertake, then till we become strong at it, Bhagavan is taking care of us as a mother would an infant. Now, from Saguna Bhakti, we move into Nirguna Bhakti. That becomes formless, but you have to go through a stage for that. And that's when you become a jnani. But whether it is Saguna Bhakti or Nirguna Bhakti, the source of strength is exactly the same. It is Bhagavan only. Like whether it is a child, an infant, or an adult, the mother remains the same. It's exactly like that in the path of devotion. Now, those people who want to be servants of Bhagavan, dasas, bhaktas, devotees, or priyas who are liked by Bhagavan, and ananya bhaktas, that means ananya bhaktas, ananya. Normally it is translated as no other than. Anyada sharanam. Ananya means anya, ananya. That means they without any difference. Like God and I are different. Bhagavan, my favorite form of Bhagavan and I are different. I feel like that. Without that sense of difference, who has the devotion, who has that bhakti, like Sukamunivar had, for example. Like that, when we start thinking like that, those ananya bhaktas, whoever it could be, dasas, bhaktas, people who are, Bhagavan calls as priyas, or ananya bhaktas, they all should take up the path of sadhana, path of disciplines, purification of the mind. by taking up a name, and then correspondingly they must live to the discipline prescribed and follow that rigorously under all costs. And then the characteristics for a bhakta that Sri Rama outlined, the same thing that Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, these characteristic traits will automatically reveal themselves. You don't have to acquire them, they're already within each one of us. But they will reveal themselves, manifest themselves, because all the weeds have been taken out, all the dross is gone from our personality, and then we will shine. And he says, the bhakta, we should develop the characteristic. The priya, the one whom Swami likes, that he should follow the path of love, prema of Bhagavan. Anandya bhakta, what does he have to do? Complete surrender to Bhagavan. There are so many ways. But just reading and repeating what we read is of no use at all. We get happiness, fulfillment only when we put that into action. See, we go back to, let us cover the story of Sabari, and before we close today's session, because that is so important. You all know, we just finished Bhagavan's great traverse with him in the Ramayana. What does Sabari say? And what did she do? See, when Rama came through the forest looking for Sabari, what did Sabari tell him? While Rama was very happily, blissfully taking the feast of, what is a feast for him? All it was just roots and fruits. That's all it was that Sabari had given. But they had been selected and reserved by Sabari for Rama after she herself tasted every individual of them. Very important. So that's why they were so sweet. And she told him, Swami, I am a woman. Also, my intelligence is not, I'm dull-witted. I don't have a great IQ and all that. And I'm also born in a low caste. I'm not educated. I'm not scholar. How can I praise you, Swami? I don't know the enough words. I've not read things to praise you. How can I praise you? I don't know what to do. She's talking to Rama like this. Just imagine, because when you see Swami, you feel like praising him, but he doesn't have the ability. Then Rama smiled and said, Sabari, no. My mission is based on the kinship of Bhakti only. Only devotion. That's the only relationship I have with that devotee, nothing else. Okay, your scholarship, wealth, poverty, mean nothing. Gender, sex, none of those things matter. Your age, achievement, none of those things matter. How you look, ugly, beautiful, none of those things. The relationship is purely kinship is the word he uses. Kinship of Bhakti. I have no kinship of race or caste. What use is it to me? What status, wealth and character and all these without Bhakti. Without Bhakti, they are useless. Just like, you see some clouds that are not water bearing. What happens to the clouds? The wind blows and they get blown away. And like that, the people without devotion, they are like at the mercy of the winds. They are not strong. They are not stable. So no, I look only for Bhakti. Devotion is the only relationship I have with people. So bhaktas, they can reach me through 9 paths. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sneham, Atmanivedanam. And Sabari, you have not only mastered one of these 9 paths, you have mastered all the 9 paths. So I love you very much. You are my devotee, is what Swami tells her. And she tells him, Swami, my life's purpose has been fulfilled today. And then Rama tells her, you see, now you have the opportunity to have my darshan, sparshan and sambhashan, even which yogis are finding very difficult to get after thousands and thousands of years of tapas and all that. Why? With Bhagavan's grace, we started sharing some points and some notes, some reminders, and some clarifications on the frame of mind that is required before we really delve into the Bhakti. Because the Narada's Bhakti Sutras, when Narada teaches us, we really need to understand it in the correct way. So for that, yesterday we covered how Sri Ramachandra explained in answers to Narada's question about who is a bhakta, who is a dasa, who is very dear and priya to Rama, and who is Ananya Bhakta. All those things Ramachandra, Sri Rama explained. We shared that yesterday. One important point I just want to cover with you again today. Same thing that we covered yesterday. Bhagavan protects like the way the eyelid got the eye. Always, naturally, Bhagavan, whether we ask for protection or not, he does. A mother protects a child. Whether the infant asks for the protection or not, the mother is always caring for and protecting the infant. Now, the important thing to appreciate here is, as the infant grows up into an adult, the mother will not pay much attention to the adult safety. That does not mean the mother abandons the grown-up child or an adult, but the care and protection is still given by the same person, the mother. In the same way, Bhagavan, when we like a Saguna Bhakta, which most of us are, and we are like an infant in the lap of the Lord. So he takes care of us. Now, before we progress to the stage of a jnani, then in which case we can stand on our own strength, but till then we are all infants on the lap of Bhagavan, of a chosen deity, chosen form and chosen name. And that's very important. And from there we derive our strength, and we understand, begin to grasp the path of devotion, the path of bhakti. It's one-pointed bhakti. And then, as part of that, we have to strengthen our character, the traits of our character. Very important. We are going to be talking about this a bit more today, and that's why I'm spending some time in these matters, which are like foundations, right? And then we, as we move about like an infant on the lap of the mother, we move about in the lap of the Lord. We must always remember that. And then we get everything done by Him per His wishes. This is a very important message from Ramachandra's and Ramachandra Narada's conversation. Now, character. Let us spend some time on that, understand it. There are various gems of points that I am sharing with you from Prema Vahini, which is authored by Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba himself, and it is a mind-boggling. It's a very thin book actually, but each line on that is a gem of incomparable value. So I'll be sharing some points from there. So pay close attention, and anytime something is not clear, we can discuss it after the session, or you're most welcome to unmute and then talk about it. Now, if you really look at it, through all the time, for all the things that we read, there has been, today there is tremendous amount of educational facilities available, so many types of knowledge coming our way, so many facilities have been given to us, comforts have been given to us, things have been made a lot easier to us today than, say, if we were living in Treta Yugam or even Dwapara Yugam or Krita Yugam and all that, where they had to do tapas and penance and fasting and so many things. We are leading a very, very luxurious life compared to what our ancestors did. But our happiness, our peace has really not increased. We have not obtained it. And the reason for this is fundamentally because of the way we conduct ourselves, the human behavior, the way we live. And of course, Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham, to get the human birth is the most difficult and very rare. That is true. It's the highest form in evolution. But to realize and to capitalize and to make use of this phenomenal gift we have as the birth of a human being, we must also undertake spiritual endeavor, spiritual effort. Spiritual effort cannot be namke vasa, namesake only, cannot be surfacial, cannot be optional at the time that I choose and I don't follow it. No, it has to be pure and holy. Very important. Because that becomes a way of life, and that is character. And because character is the one that makes one's life really immortal. One's character survives one's death, isn't it? And people say, at least we have been taught, that knowledge is power, information is power. No, character is actually power when you really look at it, right? And even to acquire good knowledge, we need good character. So our first focus should be, and regardless of however much we think we know, and we approach most of the things in life with the perspective, I know, right? So we have closed our mind as opposed to a child which has always got its mind open and picking up lots of information, right? So in spite of all that, we must focus on attaining and yearning a stellar character, because Bhagavan says, see, when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. When character is lost, everything is lost. Please remember that. That is why we think of Kanchi Paramacharya, Ramana Maharishi, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Buddha. We, even today, even though they may not be here physically, what happens in our mind, what happens in our heart, automatically respect wells up, right? There is something very unique about this, about character. And the yashaha that Vedam talks about, the fame, the reputation, comes only from character, which is purity. Now, like a flower that has got fragrance, if a flower does not have fragrance, we don't attach much value to it. The same way, whatever we have, however much we may be educated, however wealthy we may be, and however exalted we may be in the society, none of this really matters without character. Then there is no fragrance to it. And some of the qualities that make up a flawless character that Bhagavan talks about in the 12th Adhyayam, also in Bhagavad Gita. And it's the first thing required is prema, love. And this prema, as we will see, as Narada is going to say, and some other rishis are going to share with us, love of God is bhakti. Love for God is bhakti. And so, the first thing we need to develop is a character, a loving disposition. Very easy to do, much easier to do than we think. And why? Swami is going to teach us later. If you have cataract, you won't be able to see things clearly. Now, if you have a piece of cloth or a piece of paper that's obstructing your eye, you cannot see clearly. So, same way, this piece of cloth, a piece of paper, the cataract that is obstructing our vision to ourselves and to everything around us, what is it that is hiding us, that is not giving us a clear picture? It is our selfishness. Selfishness, nothing more than that, as simple as that. The moment you remove that selfishness, things appear in a different light. And you're much more happy and much more peaceful than even you thought was even possible. So it is phenomenal experience. That's all there is. So the first thing required is prema, a loving disposition. Second is patience. Patience is all the strength man needs. If you really look at it, this is again a quotation, a teaching from Swami that I'm sharing with you. Patience is all the strength a man needs. Patience, forbearance. See, forbearance is Kshama. Kshama is in Sanskrit, it's called, patience is called Sahana. And forbearance is called Kshama. Kshama is an exalted quality to develop. Then steadfastness, which is Shraddha, determination. These are all things that we must develop. We cannot afford to be lazy. This optional thing does not work, and it's something that we must get into a routine on a daily, on a fixed time basis. And charity. Charity just does not mean only giving food to hungry and giving money to people you should never give money in charity, by the way, because money makes many wrongs, and you are liable to, you're also part and parcel of whatever people do with that money you give. You have a certain role in that, so you have to be very careful. But charity also could be, you could be Vijnana, Vidya Dhanam, so many other Dhanams are there. But here charity means to share things that we have, whether it is money or whether it is knowledge or whether it is health or whether it is physical activity or intelligence or singing ability. Doesn't matter. Whatever we have, Bhagavan has gifted us with, we share it with others, not from a point of view of giving and taking, but really fulfilling the need of the other. That's all. It's the same way water flows downhill. Why? Because it's gravity pull. It should be like that. It's not like one is superior or another is inferior. It is just filling everything in samam, with offering it to God. That is charity. So these have to be understood and developed and strengthened. Our present life today, each one of us, whatever we are living today, is a result of our own past and the habits that we have formed in the past. That is why not two of us behave exactly the same way or think the same way, because we all have behaved differently in the past. And whatever way our character is today, we may be selfish, we may be miserly, we may be angry, we may not have a loving disposition, does not matter. Once we know what is it that we have got to do, then it is very much possible and doable to modify the traits that we have into the traits that we must have. So that's a very important point to understand. Then, as part of doing that, we read many things, we hear many things, we attend sessions like this, right? And we listen to music, listen to many other discourses, so many things. All the quest for knowledge is there. But just reading and hearing alone is not enough. We have to put that into actual practice. That is the Sravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. There is no escape around it. We have to hear, Mananam, we have to reflect on it so it becomes clear. The clarity is very important. And if you start practicing things that are not clear in a confused state, the result will never be there. So we must take time to masticate, like to learn from the cow. All the things that we digest, all the things we take in before digestion, we have to masticate it. We have to put it in our mouth and then masticate like that. We have to put it in our mind. Understand. So the moment you start doing that, the Bhagavan who's seated in your lotus heart, he will teach you. And what you have to do is to take the effort to spend that time to reflect on what is being heard, what is being read. Okay, then the message becomes clear. Next one is Nididhyasanam. Must put that into practice. And as part of that, the seeking and yearning for Bhagavan must become a single-pointed attention. Whatever we do, wherever we are, it does not matter. We must always bring our mind to Bhagavan, whatever form you like. And that is very important. And even though we may not individually, on a personal basis, experience this, this moment, next moment it's possible. With Bhagavan says anything is possible. But at least intellectually let us begin to understand and appreciate and maybe imagine, if possible, what is reality, right? What is reality? And it says, when seen through the eyes of love, all beings are beautiful, all thoughts are sacred, and all actions are innocent. So remember that as a mantra, even though I may not see it with the eyes of love, that is how it will be. So when we have that picture in our mind, automatically, we will progress towards that. That's very important. That is called samadrishti. See, in spite of whatever our mind tells us, whatever our intelligence tells us, whatever our rational thinking tells us, whatever our training from school and moving with people and whatever we do in our life, all the learnings that we have done. Once we gave up being an infant and a child, we started learning so many things, right? With that, automatically we come to certain conclusions, certain impressions, certain deductions and assumptions and imaginations. In spite of all that, there is nothing evil in the world. There is nothing evil in the creation. It's all our reflection, reaction, resound. So we need to purify it. It's like a mirror. Okay? So it just reflects the way we are. I get up in the morning, I go stand in front of the mirror. If I don't look good, it is not that's the way I look. So I need to dress up, make myself up, and then I look beautiful. So same way we have to clean up and purify our mind. Very important. And because that, with a pure mind only, we can offer our heart, our hridayam to Bhagavan. That's our final visa stamp, so to speak, the passport to heaven, passport to where Bhagavan is at the lotus feet. What is the visa required? What is the proof that I belong there? Where is the authority for entry? Is I have to submit back, return the hridayam that Bhagavan has endowed me with in the same pure form that he gave me. And for that I have to purify my mind. And so please remember that. Then, how to do that? It is easier said than done. Yes, it is easier said than done, but it's easier doable than one thinks, because all you have to do is to take the very first step and want to take the first step sincerely. That alone is enough. The sincere desire to want to take the first step is enough. And what happened? What should I do? How can I purify mind? The very first thing in sadhana is stop looking for faults and weaknesses in others. Very important. Doesn't matter how big they look, how unfair it is, how evil somebody looks. No. Look only for goodness in others. The more goodness I look for from people, in people, and look all around me, the more good I become. This is the law of nature. If I start looking at evil things and violent things and bad things, you know what happens to our mind. We become more evil and more violent, right? So let us focus as a first step in sadhana, and especially people, we go and pray in a temple, the Garbhagraham, the idol, the murti there does not react to us. It just stays there with a smile. So we do all our prayers and all that come. Suppose the murti starts reacting back to us and gives us a scowl back, or gives us a, that's what human beings are. Human beings are nothing but the various murtis that we have in Garbhagraham, except they all are moving about. No difference. So how do we react to it? Let us look for the goodness in others. Ignore deliberately, consciously the faults and the weaknesses that we see. And this could be the first sadhana. And as corollary, not even a corollary, as attached to that same sadhana as a second step, is to look at the faults and the weaknesses of ourselves and improve it. And not look at our own so-called greatness and all that. That's not that important. Okay, what is important is how can I become better? How can I become more loving? The very first step of loving disposition, these are the very first two steps that one has to do. See, we get up in the morning, right? We go about our normal things, all the things that we do. At night, we go to bed tired, exhausted, whatever we do. But what is it that we have actually accomplished other than get one day closer to leaving this body? Nothing else we have achieved. But if I can spend the day, at the end of the day, I can honestly tell myself, my inner consciousness is my Bhagavan. You cannot fool it. Nobody can fool their conscience. And if I can honestly report to it and say, yes, I have become a shade less selfish today, and I become a shade more loving today. I practiced this and I succeeded, became more loving. That is the consummation of daily. That's the kind of thing that really, really fulfills the day that has been given to us. And this is the significance why our body has been given, mind has been given, time has been given, all our senses and the facilities and myriad things from the outside world that we enjoy, the ability, you name it. Everything has been given only for this purpose, to toil, to work ceaselessly and deliberately to improve. Improve means become more loving, less selfish. These are all practical exercises. And to do that, how can I do that is the next question. From sunrise to sunset, okay, very simple. Whatever I do, whatever I think, whatever I speak, doesn't matter. Let's not give an adjective to it, good or bad. The adjective is given by us. Bhagavan does not give adjective, okay? And whatever I do, I offer it to God. That simple, that consecration, that making it, that simple act of offering will make it sacred. Sooner or later, sooner than later, that becomes a habit. And then you will see a definite transformation, a definite change in your own character. This is beautiful. It is a phenomenal thing that I want everybody to experience. So this is the key thing that we have got to do. Okay? And is there a difference between Bhakti and Jnana? So many discourses, so many confusions, compendiums have been, all these things that I personally have gone through, quite a bit of them. It's all confusion, doesn't leave any satisfied, fulfilled feeling at the end, because it is not the truth. Only the truth will fulfill you, will give you a sense of fulfillment, not of accomplishment. Accomplishment is really irrelevant. In the scheme of things, what I accomplish or don't accomplish is immaterial, because it really does not matter for nature when you look at it. What matters is, do I get a fulfillment, purnam? That fulfillment is important. That can come, only when there is truth. So jnana, bhakti, karma, whatever you say, they're all one and the same. There is no difference. Karma is bhakti and bhakti is jnana. There's no difference. How so? How come you say that? Simple. But the universe is a university. We spoke about it, right? And this is the truth. Every little thing from the universe, if I pay attention to it, it is teaching me. It is teaching me beautifully, right? From an earthworm to an ant to even a Mysore pak. Let us take the example of a Mysore pak. We all have enjoyed Mysore pak in our life. Now, what does it have? It has got sweetness. We all know it is sweet. It has got a weight. And it has got a shape. Now, so when we look at a Mysore pak, so we see the form, it has got a certain weight, and we know it's got sweetness. Actually, all the three can really not be separated. Why? Because Even if you break it into little pieces, still it has got a certain weight and certain shape and the sweetness. So, can you really separate the three? But if you place the Mysore pak on your tongue, what happens? Then the taste is recognized. What happens to the weight? Weight becomes less. And what happens to the shape? That becomes modified. And all these happen at the same time. The tasting, changing in the shape and changing in the weight. And the so-called jiva, all these are names given by us. Jivatma, Paramatma, and all these things, right? And the life force, the thing that is within me, and Paramatma is as if in somewhere else in Vaikuntham. All these things we think, they are really not separate. They are one and the same, exactly like what a block of Mysore pak is. It's a taste. Raso vai saha. The essence of it is what Bhagavan is, right? Please always keep that in mind. And so whatever work that we do it lovingly, offering it to Bhagavan. It's a very simple, practical instruction from Bhagavan that gets repeated where whichever scriptural teaching you turn to, the same teaching comes. We miss it. That let us pay attention to that. Yat karosi tat kurushva madarpanam. We have heard this in Bhagavad Gita. Same thing Bhagavan says. Now, the more one reads, the more headache actually it becomes. Seriously. If you look at all the great devotees, how much have they read? They were all Vedic scholars, this and no. They instead put their mind at the lotus feet. So, just because one reads many books and becomes master in various scriptures and all that, Jnana does not descend. No. Only Sadguna. Sadguna means character. The loving disposition, the patience, the forbearance, the kshama that we talked about, these are the, and dhanam, charitable disposition, these are the ones that the sadgunas are the one that from which jnanam, bhakti actually blossoms out. Very important. One final thing for today, and then we'll share a few more points tomorrow before we begin the Narada Bhakti Sutras. See, all along in several scriptural teachings we have seen the importance of Yajna. And Yajna, people immediately translate it as sacrifice. No, don't go there. Move away from that. That's a very limited understanding of what Yajna is. And here is another beautiful practical application of what Yajna is. And that I want to share with you before we conclude today. One thing we cannot do in our life is to stop acting, stop our karmas. Impossible. We are all working machines. Whether we like it or not, we are all working machines, right? From our birth to the time of our death, right? So, and we have seen why and all that in Bhagavad Gita. So, if I am doing karma all the time, work all the time, suppose if I do that work in the correct way, then it becomes yajna. Now, there are three types of work, entities, if you would call it that way. That's all we have to do. So, what are the three types of karma that we do? First one, to utilize the world around us, the universe, the bhumi, bhulokam, earth, whatever you want to call it, or looking at the sun, the moon, the stars, the prapancham. Utilize that prapancham, the world, for the worship of the Lord. First thing we have to do. If I can utilize the universe to worship the Lord, just observe it, how beautiful it is, how phenomenally inexplicable the underlying rule and the underlying rhythm is, and then develop that sense of awe and reverence and worship it. That is number one. Second karma is to establish peace and justice in the society that we live in. Why? for the welfare of the society, for all the beings, so that they can live happily and peacefully. So I work towards that. I'm not worried about somebody else damaging it. No. My contribution, my work, my karma is to establish peace and justice in the society. And the third type of karma is to control and coordinate the functions of our own body and mind. If I can focus on controlling my mind, controlling the activities of my body, whether speaking sweetly and not speaking angrily, not eating too much, not looking at things that are not good, and look at things, everything, the sense control, the mind control, if I start doing that, and also keep the body in tip-top shape, it has to be strong and healthy, right? Though that's the control and coordination of the function of the body. These are the three types of karmas that we do. The first one, where I leverage and utilize and capitalize on everything around me in the universe, right? For worshipping Bhagavan, the Lord, because it is all Virata Swarupam, it is all form of Bhagavan only. Even though he is formless, he is appearing in these many forms. If I can take that as a channel and worship him for everything that I see in the universe and leverage whatever has been given to me to worship him, that karma is Yajna. Now the second karma, which was the karma I do to promote peace and justice in the society, that becomes Dhana. That is charity. And the third karma of controlling and coordinating the body and mind that I have, that karma, if I do that to control and coordinate it well, that becomes Tapas. So, all the actions that we do must follow these basic three qualifications. Then we are on the way to developing an excellent supreme character, Sadguna, and on the way automatically to devotion and bhakti to Bhagavan. Because that's a path, that's a royal road. It has to be traversed with tremendous reverence and worship and dedication, right? So, with that we will close for today. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.